Pardon me for eating. I'm just so tired after that run. I gotta like recharge. Wow, drawing the Sylvan Advocate made this draw so much better. Holy cow. So he could be against Grixis. We could also be against, I was going to say Esper Dragons, and it looks like we are. Just really hoping my opponent kills myself an Advocate here. Gideon is the big reward. Hope it resolves. Wow, 2? Jesus. So, it's like... I mean, there's not that many counter spells to worry about. So jamming the Gideon just seems so good there to me. It's definitely unfortunate that it worked out in the way that it did. This is like just not much pressure. Like I could have played things a little more conservatively and tried to play the Nissa instead of the Gideon there. Maybe that would have been a better play, but it's just such like an unexciting play. This is pretty bad for us. And you can see here how Nissa like doesn't actually match up that well against these control decks. So I have to like seriously worry about Dragon Lord Silumgar. Seems like my opponent is lacking some mana. I wonder if my opponent's going to Foul Tongue Invocation. Okay. I think the best move here is actually just to Emblem my Gideon. It makes my Nissa a lot more powerful. It makes the Secure the Waste a lot more powerful. It just makes... Jesus, look at this guy. What does he think he is? His draws are too good. Putting me on T. And you can see that these Dromoka's commands are not particularly good either. Wow. It's like obviously kind of a waste, but dealing 1 damage a turn is completely different than dealing no damage a turn. So wow, brutal. So a lot of the times I can manage to actually have better card advantage than the control decks if my Planeswalkers resolve, but this situation my opponent just had like the perfect answer for the perfect threat every step away. So Wonder if he has another counterspell. My god. Dude, insane. What's happening to me? That was good. Might as well go for it. I mean, if he has a removal spell, then I just do it again. Can't ultimate price, so if he does have a removal spell, it's gotta be Grasp in Darkness. And it's possible that, like, I could have waited until my turn to do it, but having the thing die is kind of fine. And, like, this way the Thopters get to attack an extra time. I almost wonder how good a Westvale Abbey would be, but I'm just going to take the Hangarback Walker. Man, imagine I'd gotten that Gideon emblem to resolve and make a emblem. Like, so good. But my opponent just has like 4 Ojitais in hand. There we go. So my opponent's definitely going to play Ojitai next turn. Just have nothing going on. My opponent does nothing. This will mean that I'll have a decent attack. Wow, Void Shatter. Dude, this guy's heavy on the counter magic. Jeez. I have to imagine that these 2 Thopters will not actually kill my opponent, so I think it's better to just deny him a card here. I feel like there's a little bit of weakness in his draw. Just a lot of weakness in my draw too. One thing that is nice is if I do draw an Avacyn, I can play it after the... Like, I'll have Dromoka's command up also. Ugh. It's just no good. So I guess a good reason to keep those Thopters alive and attack with them is that makes something like a Nissa quite... I feel like I'm just completely dead. definitely want to get more value off this Nissa than just a random plant. So I'm not going to play it this turn. I have to imagine I'm just completely dead. This is the part where I would consider just conceding. So, what can I honestly do here? Play Gideon, make a knight, fight the Jace. It's like my best line. I actually have to do it now. Otherwise his Jace can flip. So, my opponent should have a removal spell, and if he does, I'll just concede. Okay, on to the next game. Oh, well, at least we get to try out our cool sideboard plan. So, 2 of these come out. 2 of these come out. 3 of these come out. These come out. Purge. Trackers. Deathmist. Abbey. And we are good to go. Much better hand than before. So we could get lucky. Perfect mana. Nice. Plains is exactly what I wanted. Now we can just magically draw Sylvan Advocate, move you off to the races. Probably want the Den Protector. Den Protector is actually really nice because it can't get Duressed, and it can't get Transgress the Minded, so that's pretty cool. And we actually get to have a decent amount of pressure this game that should be hard for him to deal with. Our opponent should be expecting cards like Virulent Plague. Because he's dragons, there's probably a good chance he doesn't have Kalitas, or at least not a lot of Kalitas. So. One thing that I also like about the scenario that we're in right now is we have one Archangel, and our opponent doesn't realize that we only have one. I think that's something that is potentially to our advantage. So I played the Hangarback there just because I can attack with it. Who's that, Exile? That takes care of my Hangarback. Wow, no land drop for my opponent. That's bad for him. So considering he has no land drop, we, like... I feel like it'd be... No, let's just... this. I feel like the next most likely thing he has is like a Languish. So I think what I want to do is just play Deathmist Raptor, or attack with Deathmist Raptor, play Nissa, and then level up Hangarback. In that order. So chance my opponent has Foul Tongue Invocation here. And if he wants to use it... So this seems like he's definitely going to languish this turn. But there's not a whole lot I can do about that. If he languishes and I draw a land, I can just play my Den Protector and flip it up, which would be really good. And there's the Plague. Is that 11? My opponent has no blue mana, which is kind of insane. Go. Do we have an Ojitai? Right. Ooh, we got a land. This means we can also get our Dromoka's command back, potentially. I think Dromoka's command is what we want. It's good to have just, like, at least one random removal spell. So... Our opponent doesn't have Languish yet. I think we want Deathmist Raptor face up. Get in for my 2 points of damage. And you can, like, flash back playing Tendrils. That's it. And if we get to untap here with Archangel and Dromoka's command, it's, like, so good. You can see that even though I've made my deck good against Virulent Plague, it still has a bit of an impact. So it's nice not being, like, even more to it. Right, what do I want to do here? I think that... So if I play Avacyn and then minus Nissa, my Avacyn will be big enough so my opponent can't just flashback Languish. And my Avacyn will kill him if that's all he can do next turn, despite the Jace. Or I could... So I could also play Sylvan Advocate and keep Dromoka's command open. I think I should actually just play the Avacyn. I don't think that my opponent's going to have, like, end hostilities. Planar outbursts, I should say. I'm just going to go for him. I think what's nice about this, too, is, you know, he has to worry about me just flipping Avacyn. Oh, Jesus. Come on, guy. So if I draw a land, I can potentially Sylvan Advocate, fight the Dragon Lord. Got a land, so thank God. Put me on T. I do have to 2-for-1 myself though, which is unfortunate. Oh, and this means Avacyn's gonna flip. That's kind of interesting. So my opponent's got to gotta have an answer. Gotta have an answer to a lot of stuff. He has 6 mana, so if he can like ultimate price my Archangel and then use Jace to flash back Languish, looks like he's just dead. No, I do not want to redirect it. Valtongue Invocation would have been good there. Yeah. So on the draw, I'm a little bit more worried about like a Jace taking over the game. So I think I'm going to bring in the extra Dromoka's command. Could be wrong about that though. Avacyn did win me that last game. Usually it doesn't work out that way. Let's experiment a little. I'll just keep it as it is with one Avacyn. If you have too few removal spells, you can just get blown out by a random Dragonlord, Silumgar, or Jace, or Kalidas. So like, being too low on removal spells is like bad. You obviously don't want to have too many, especially if they have better card advantage than you, but Sand's pretty mediocre, but I'll keep it. It's a great start, which is good. Whoa, that was close. I almost screwed myself. That's great. And Oath of Nissa is really doing a lot of work here. You know, I could hope that I draw a Plains to play this Gideon if I didn't have the Oath, but not only does Oath find the Gideon for me, but it ensures that I can play it. Now, if I draw an Avacyn instead of a Dromoka's command when I need to kill this Jace, I'm just going to be like, well, viewer, I told you so. That's the thing about my sideboarding notes is they're just guidelines. I don't always strictly follow them. Sometimes because the situation is unique, sometimes because like my opponent's playing in a weird way, and sometimes it's just because I just want more information on different ways of doing things. So, and you really want to do like as much of that figuring out before you enter the tournament. I wonder if my opponent's trying to decide if he wants to tap out for like painful truths, and he's worried that if he does, I'll just eat his Jace. Or he just lost connection from the game. Could be that too. So you can see how my hand looks really good. Like going turn 2 Advocate, turn 3 Nissa, turn 4 Gideon is awesome. But because my opponent's ahead with this Jace, the Jace is going to help him ensure that he has like the right piece of removal for each one of my threats. And I can find myself in a situation where I'm just out of gas and my opponent just has a Jace. I'll just lose. And this is one of the reasons why Jace is so good, is because you can play Jace in these heavy removal decks, and you put your opponent's aggro deck in this really tough spot where they don't really have enough removal to reliably kill a turn 2 Jace. So like whenever you have it, just like, oh, he's gonna. Wow. Well, definitely doing this. Just no thought. Insta kill. If I had a Deathmist Raptor, I'd probably play the Deathmist Raptor instead. But Nissa is just so low on the like pressure scale, so. So after casting Painful Truth, I have to imagine my opponent has a 2-mana counter spell here. So I think what I'm going to do is this time I am going to opt to play the Nissa, especially because against my deck, these control decks sometimes will even go like up on their counter magic and have cards like negate. When game 1, when I'm against a unsideboarded opponent, I am more likely to just jam stuff, as I did in game 1 with that Gideon that got countered. But in a post-board scenario where people are more likely to be prepared for what I'm bringing to the table, I usually prefer to like pace my threats a little bit more slowly. So what's the best thing that I can do here? So I can play Gideon and make a knight, and then my opponent plays Ojatai. Like, there is a world where I play Gideon here and plus, and then my opponent plays Ojatai, and I plus an attack, and play Den Protector face down. And then when my opponent attacks with Ojatai, he can only deal 5 damage to my 6 loyalty Gideon. But if I plus and my opponent just has like Ruinous Path or Silumgar's, I guess Silumgar's command, it's like Dobbs either way. But I think this is the way that I want to do it. So my Gideon's essentially forfeit, but oh wow, no Ojatai. I wonder if my opponent's like afraid of something like Wing Clip. So cracking the clue is like I have to be worried about drawing something that my opponent's going to transgress. But if I drew like another Oath of Nissa, I'd want to just fire it off. So I have to imagine this is Ojatai. At least my tracker gets to attack through it. That's like kind of cool. Ooh, and I get another clue? Jeez. 2, 3. So I can crack a clue. And I think what I want to do is actually just play a huge Hangarback Walker. I think that's going to be like the most inconvenient thing to deal with. I feel like if I play my Den Protector here, my opponent may just attack with Dragon Lord Ojatai and then languish. Well, this is great. Yeah, I'm happy with this. And now I think I will play my Morph. And nothing else. So I feel like Gideon's the best card for me to get. But an argument can be made for this Tireless Tracker too. I don't have any lands. It has 4 cards. I have to imagine that if I play Gideon, he counters it. I guess against... So if I play Gideon, my opponent is Silumgar Scorn. He can counter the Gideon and give my Dem Protector -3/-3, whereas if I play Tireless Tracker, the best he can do is like give something -3/-3 and bounce my knight. But the knight's not... The Tireless Tracker is not very good if I don't have a land drop. I think I'm actually going to take the Tireless Tracker. Do have to actually worry about going to time. So the reason for that is because it can just generate more card advantage. Gideon is a deck is a card that I think my opponent's actually set up a little better to deal with between his dragons and whatnot. Counters. I mean, if I don't draw a land, I can just play a 3/3 Hangarback Walker, which is fine. The one thing that is a little annoying about this is the Tireless Tracker. If I play it to the board, I'm going to be a little weak to Languish. So even if I do draw a land, I may just play the Hangarback Walker instead. Fortunately, I can attack with my... Oh, my opponent did have Silumgar's command. And getting this up to a 4/4 is pretty nice because you get the slam into an Ojitai. But it could be pretty bad if my opponent just has a Silumgar. Which would be the kind of card that would be stuck in his hand for a while, yeah. So that's not so good for me. Let's see. I wonder if there's any way that I actually activate my Westvale Abbey this game. Like, probably one of the ideal things to happen right now is for me to, like, Angelic Purge my Hangarback Walker to kill his Dragon Lord. That would be pretty good, probably. And I'm kind of in a nice spot that if I draw a land, these Tireless Trackers are going to be great. If I draw a spell, well, that's, usually fine too. You can certainly see how, like, a random Nissa or Gideon here is, like, not the best. Get 2 clues. Get an Oath. Actually, I don't even know if I would cast an Oath. It'd be more important to level up my Hangarback Walker. So I have to imagine my opponent's getting his Ojutai back. Ooh, Dragon Lord. That is a great card. Ooh, I love that card. Evolutionary Leap's also like really good against Dragon Lord, Silumgar. So Languish. Do I want to level up all my dudes? So I think I don't. Seems like there's a good chance. Also, if I draw like a cheap creature here, I'll probably just go for Westvale Abbey. Fortunately, my opponent just has like infinite chump blockers, which is like super annoying, but would have been phenomenal to have a like Dromoka's command that I could cast there. Ooh, jeez. Punished for cracking my clue. Cheap creature. Man, that is not good. I think we're gonna die. It's probably in my opponent's interest to like Languish here, unless he has like a good answer. Like, I guess he has Silumgar's Scorn in the graveyard. So even if I activate my Abbey, I have to worry about him just chump blocking with a Thopter and then flashing back. Oh wow. Well, I'll take it. So I think this means that I'll be able to get one clean shot in with the Abbey if I flip it. Oh, Flank Tendril, sure. Ugh. Yeah, I did not really get that much going on, unfortunately. That's kind of nice. If there's any way that I could snipe this Jace. It'd be pretty amazing if I could. I have to imagine that if I get something like a Gideon, it'll get countered, but I think that's what I'm going to go for. Gideon Emblem would be nice. He doesn't have Grasp and Darkness mana up, and he can't ultimate price my human cleric. So if the card in his hand is Foul Tongue Invocation, he's got to use it before my Den Protector resolves. Really wish I had seen some Deathmist Raptors this game. Where are they? So let's see, if my opponent lets this resolve, I'll probably just get back Gideon and try to Emblem. If I can do that, I can kill Jace. And then if he Foul-Tongue Invocations in response, I'll probably just... Oh, that solves that. Just to play around the potential of a Clash of Wills. This also means that his Dragonlord Silumgar can attack my, or he can't block my Dem Protector, which is kind of nice too. Fortunately, my opponent can just get back Ojitai. Wow, he didn't get back Ojitai at the end of turn. I wonder if that was a misclick. Well, basically dead. Oh, that's not good. My opponent can knock me to 1. That means I cannot make a human cleric. Man, I'm starting this video series 02? So lame. This is like harder than the Grand Prix. This looks like an all-out attack, in which case I'll be dead. Oh yeah, now we're just definitely dead. Alright, GG. Done here. Yep, that's it. You guys heard it here first. Leagues are harder than Grand Prix. On to the next one.